Mics are hot.
Down on camera 6, playback.
Coming out of graphics.
Live all
and camera
around.
6 and 7 are
Audio
hot.
is speeding.
Hello, welcome back to Ready Take Live, your favorite live show about live shows. My name is Aubrey. I will be one of your hosts today. I missed you last week. Nick Walsh did an amazing job taking over as the TD, and I have to say I was pretty jealous that I don't get beer in the control room like they do. But maybe we'll do that next week. Who knows? We want to introduce everybody, obviously, and so I have a question for everyone. Not to be morbid, so we'll turn this in like a positive route. Do you think that large events will start live streaming, or do you think that they will just continue canceling altogether? We'll start with our A1 for the day.
Hey everybody, Al here. Good to see you all. I think that, sort of talking about what we discussed with last week with like appointment viewing and whatnot, I think there's definitely an opportunity for large scale events to move more towards like a digital first sort of like streaming. And I mean, it's going to be interesting to see where things go over the next couple months, especially with big events like the Olympics coming up in the summertime.
Exactly. That's going to be a big one. And to our graphics up.
Cool. Yeah, so I think not only are more events just going to be online, but I do think that at-home production is also going to scale up, and people are going to see ways like, oh, can we send a production team or just equipment to some CEO somewhere so then they don't even need to leave their homes? I think it'll definitely go online, and probably even more than we're already expecting.
Fantastic. And as always, our Anna.
Anna. No, I totally believe that people will stream because I believe in the power of the human spirit, and I believe our desire to be connected and to be together and to share stories is more powerful than anything else. So I think we'll find our way.
That's beautiful. Yeah, I do think that obviously people pull together really well in tragedy, and there is going to be good that comes out of this, and not just in the live streaming world, but in humanity. So we'll move right along to our topics for today. We will get to talk about some coronavirus, but first, Anna, you want to talk to us about some Gaga?
Okay, so Lady Gaga dropped a new music video, and I saw it as I do, everything through social media. And I watched the video, and I was like, oh, that's fun. It's like straight from another era, another time, another place. And then I read about it. Variety just released an article yesterday about how it was shot entirely on iPhone. They had a ready rig set up with, not a ready rig, sorry, a Steadicam set up with 3 iPhones side by side, one shooting 24 frames per second, the other shooting 48, and another one that I think had like a tighter lens on it. They also had a drone overhead with 2 iPhones on it, and then they had other DPs with handheld rigs. And I think that's really cool. It's kind of, we've entered a new phase in the democratization of production. One of the things we talk about here all the time is the way price points change and shift and how production is more open than it ever has been before. And the more pros utilize the same tools that we have, that we carry with us every day, the more stories we can tell in new and exciting ways.
In that article, did they talk about what lenses they used?
No, they did not.
That's I feel like was like an interesting question for that, because I know Tangerine, which is a movie that came out like 2 years ago, is also they were like, we're the first feature film on an iPhone, which probably isn't true,
like
but
5S or something.
Cool. Yeah, I think so. No, I think so. I think that's like around the era of that. As like cameras are getting better on phones, it definitely is democratizing it, as you said. But I do think they probably had some very fancy lenses at their disposal to really like put those sensors to their full value.
Well, and also like a Steadicam rig with a Steadicam operator that's trained, and a drone with a drone operator.
Yeah.
Those are still very expensive tools, and they're totally worth the money. Like anyone can tell you, it's worth it to get the right Steadicam operator for your show.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, so that's, it's still like a skilled operator. There's no substitution for. So
It's true. I did notice that they were shooting horizontal, though, like normal. I was wondering when you mentioned iPhones if the whole video was going to be vertical, but I see that they have not completely leaned into that.
Soon, I'm sure.
Yeah, once that music video is on Quibi, then it's gonna be vertical.
Ew, I'm seeing so many posts for that now on Instagram.
Yeah, right.
They are certainly
Can you
spending
explain
money.
to the layman? I don't know. Quibi?
Oh yeah,
Quibi.
it's a new streaming service. It's run by, I want to say Jeff Katzenberg, but I could be wrong. He's like a former. Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Jeff Katzenberg. He's a former Pixar director, responsible for a lot of good movies. And so what their goal is to have content that you can watch both on your screen at home as well as on your phone. So everything they're shooting both vertically and horizontally, so you could just actively switch between the two. So the other drawing point is like all of their episodes are under 10 minutes long. So it's like all for quick bite-sized viewing. So definitely
I think
really
they're all
interested.
7 minutes.
Oh yeah,
I think it's like, I think 7 is the number, but I could be wrong.
Cool,
Definitely under 10, but
I believe it. Yeah. So it's like interesting to see like how they're trying to create the viewing experience with mobile in mind and with short attention spans in mind as well.
Yeah, Quibi, when it happens, is going to be huge. There's some really impressive, like Lauren Michaels has money in it. Like, people have a lot of money in it.
I saw Idris Elba is in one of them, which is exciting.
Worth the subscription price alone.
Yeah, exactly.
Snaps for that one.
Cool. Well, let's talk a little bit about a very big piece of news right now. Obviously, there is a virus going around that has been really deadly in a lot of countries, and we've seen a lot of large tech conferences and other things, not just tech, but obviously since we are Ready Tech Live, we focus on the tech, canceling because of this, and they have not talked about going live live streaming yet. Instead, Walsh or Al, do either of you have input on that?
Cool. Yeah, so some of the organizations already that have canceled are F8 and Google I/O. As of right now, WWDC is still on, as well as NAB, everyone's favorite. But I know Aja just dropped out of NAB the other day, so I wouldn't be surprised if more people follow suit, especially people who are coming from like other international locations.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Al.
Sorry. WWDC, I believe, live streams no matter what. So for most like the major presentations from Apple, they'll be already live streaming, but I'm sure they'll be paying a little bit more money for server space for more users on that. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see where that goes for some of those bigger events. Like Google I/O is happening in May, so they're already looking like 2 months ahead as to where things could track. But they're looking at like a more digital first approach to that major event.
Yeah, I do think that that's the biggest piece of news for me with this right now is that these events are not happening in March or April. Most of these events are happening months from now, and they're already being canceled. I get that that's also from a monetary perspective of the sooner you cancel, the less money you lose. But I do think it's surprising that these companies do not have... It's not that they don't have hope, I guess, that it's going to be figured out, but there's a big liability issue, and not just monetarily, of if you invite a bunch of people and then there is an outbreak within your conference. That's a terrible image.
Yeah, it's going to be even harder to cancel the closer they get to. So like now's like the time to do it.
Yep. Well, on to a little bit of happier news. The International Space Station did a live stream last week for some Army recruits in 3 different locations. So they had Army recruits that were swearing in to become a part of the Army in Houston, Texas, in Atlanta, and in LA. And they were sworn in by a Colonel Andrew Morgan, who is at the International Space Station. So this is a great example of live streaming outside of the universe. Or inside of the universe, outside of outside of planet Earth. I think it's really cool. I think it's awesome that is the next generation that we're talking about is being sworn in, and this is going to be normal to them. Like, this is something that seems totally very cool right now, but the fact that they were able to bring in someone from space and they get to be sworn in by this gentleman who is at the International Space Station, especially with... NASA's been going up and down recently, and I think a lot of the millennial generation, at least I know where I'm from with a lot of Air Force, was you can be an astronaut, and then because our parents grew up with the first space missions and all the successes of that, and then with NASA's cutbacks and all of those things, to be able to have the next generation really have a piece of space like that, I think is very cool, and it's a very great use of live streaming. And also exciting, one of the kids that I grew up with was one of the recruits.
Oh, that's awesome.
So that's how I found out about it, which I thought was really awesome.
Yeah, space seems like really in right now. Like I was just in H&M and there's like space is very in right now. Like I was just in H&M. There's like so many NASA things right now. So I think there's like kind of a push to get people back interested in space and all that stuff, especially with like Mars kind of being on the horizon and all of that stuff. I think it's like an interesting time to be interested in space.
I think Elon Musk wants everyone interested in space right now.
We have to repopulate like Mars or something.
Yeah.
It sounds like he wants to do, I saw an article that says he wants to do like up to 70 launches to space from Florida's Space Coast every month.
Cape Canaveral in that area?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
In 2021. So I don't
a lot
know
of rocket fuel.
what they're going to be doing on those launches or where they're going. But
Those live streams actually are really fascinating. The commentary and all the production they have going on for that, like, they always seem to pop up on Twitter, like, but every so often. I never know when to tune in, but when I've caught a few clips of those, it's really amazing the camera work that they do and all the sort of production value they put into just getting people interested in SpaceX and space exploration. So I think, beyond just being in the International Space Station, it's, getting people engaged in like space exploration and rocket launches and all that kind of stuff. I think rather than just having hosting on TV, they can use it on a platform like this, and get people interested and excited about what that looks like. I don't know what kind of infrastructure that NASA does. Did they talk about it at all in the article?
No, they do not talk about how they did it.
Well, they are a satellite. So.
Yeah, that's what I imagine.
Yeah. But
Anyways.
it's live.
That's pretty amazing. Like, what's the delay looking like? I mean, it's pretty much, it's got to be similar to what we do when we have to like transmit from the ground back up and then back down again.
Yeah, I'm sure. Like, I think once we start going to Mars, there'll be like a ton of latency. It's just like the speed of light is the limit. But I think like anything within our orbit should be basically the same as what it is here. But don't quote me, but that'll just be my guess.
You gotta refresh your connection when you're on Mars.
I'm not a rocket surgeon.
Nick Walsh, there is no delay.
Well, I've always said I want to retire on the moon, so maybe they'll let me do that now.
Yeah.
Oh. At least it's going to be like cruises, right? You go for like a week or two.
Yeah. Well,
You
did you
hang out on
see,
the ship mainly.
have you seen Ad Astra?
No.
That was they go to the moon and it's like completely like Disneyfied commercial. There's like an Applebee's when they land and stuff. It's pretty funny.
It's Epcot.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
A Total Recall thing, it'll be like, I just want to say I'm going to be there for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Anybody
It
gets
was
that?
7 years. Yeah.
Sorry, reference. Didn't get it, Al.
Yeah.
Apologies.
Sorry. Total Recall. Arnold Schwarzenegger. Watch it.
And on that note, we're going to move on to our next segment where we get to talk to a pro in the industry. And this week, we get to talk with the VP of Solutions Engineering from Wowza. So let's get pro talk. And I did see him giggling when he heard that music, so that makes me happy. This week, we've got Barry Owen from Wowza. Thanks so much for being on the show, Barry.
Thanks for having me. It's good to be here.
Yeah. So can you just talk to us a little bit about what your background is in and how long you've been with Wowza?
Yeah, absolutely. So I have been with Wowza, 7.5 years now. Originally started as VP of Engineering, came in, grew the dev team as we grew multiple products. And then about the middle of last year, Wowza decided to branch out and, as some would say, finally offer some professional services to our customers. And that includes solution architecture, solution engineering, implementations. So that is something I've always been kind of passionate about. I love working with our customers. I love helping them solve their problems. So I moved over to head up that team. And it's been fabulous growing that organization and really getting to know our customers even better than I did before.
Yeah, we are big fans of Wowza. If you're watching this on Facebook, we're streaming this live on the Wowza Clearcaster with the Facebook integration, which is the main piece of hardware that Wowza sells, and we love it. It allows us to go 1080p, even if we are not whitelisted. That includes any of our clients. If they are not whitelisted for 1080 on Facebook, if we bring this product and we stream through it, then we are able to bring them 1080p quality on Facebook, which is great, obviously, especially for very high-end clients. So can you talk to us about a little bit about what's going on at Wowza right now? I know you guys have some new launches with Apple Low Latency HLS and with an integration with Fastly.
Yeah, we got a bunch of stuff going on, and it's all really highlighted by, Wowza wants to be your streaming solution. It's been in the past. There's a lot of components you have to put together, pieces and parts. The whole speeds and feeds mentality. We want to build you solutions. That being said, obviously there's key technologies we have to provide to be able to do that. So certainly things like, being one of the market leaders in low latency HLS implementation, working with, people like player vendors and things like that to make sure we have a complete, stable end-to-end solution. And then it includes people like Fastly, so we can distribute this stuff at scale. We believe Fastly offers a lot in the terms of the way they're architected, the things we can do with them, including real-time data, analytics, things like that, enhanced user experience across the board. So those are certainly two of the key things we will announce at NAB, and looking forward should NAB happen. But we have various enhancements in the products, including our continued support of SRT across the board and all our platforms, including Clearcaster. Some nice cool toys with Clearcaster and enhanced support, 8K support, better user management, continuing the improvement of the Clearcaster graphics capabilities, all that stuff. So what this really enables from the solution perspective is we want to have the ability to see into your workflow end to end and provide you analytics and insights in that in real time, both for like stream health and analytics and things like that to help you diagnose if something's going wrong, but also to give you that user feedback and real time information you get from any event, anything across the workflow to help you out.
Yeah, that's great. And if you're watching on Facebook, I already talked about Clearcaster, but if you're also watching on LinkedIn this week, we are using Wowza Streaming Cloud for LinkedIn. And Nick Walsh got us all set up and ready to go with that. So it's very exciting to have that integration as well.
Awesome.
And that was big for us. So we can jump to NAB real quick. Obviously, it's still going on as of March 3rd, 2020. And we've had the pleasure of actually hanging out with you guys at NAB for the past 2 years, making Wowza Studio sessions. There's a fun little overhead shot of that. Wowza always has a great booth at NAB. Just wondering if you got some new products to launch. If everything goes well and everybody's there, do you guys have some new stuff on the horizon that you can talk about, or is everything pretty tight-lipped?
Some of the stuff I mentioned before is certainly stuff we can talk about, the ongoing enhancement, the work, particularly on better low latency solutions across the board, be it that Apple Low Latency HLS, Dash CTE, WebRTC enhancements across the board, including being able to ingest WebRTC into cloud and things like that. So that's a focus for sure. The data insights, which I mentioned, is a big focus for us moving forward. And then, continuing to ramp our professional services offering. We want to be able to provide those services to our customers in a lot of different ways and a lot of different flavors. So we're continuing to kind of refine that offering. And one of the things we're looking forward to at NAB is really having that customer presence where we get to hear from our customers and learn more about what they're trying to do and how that can help us shape our products moving forward.
Definitely. I know when I read about the integration with Fastly and being able to get more user insight and everything, that was a very good addition, very exciting for us, because often we are providing our clients with an engineering book or an encoding book of what their viewer numbers were like, average view time, all those kind of things. So anything that can add to our deliverable for our client from a streaming perspective is extremely helpful. Even from our end, not even from from the Fox Sports or anything. It's like just from our end of client to that.
Absolutely. And as you guys know, we tend to take an API first methodology. So we make it, though we will provide interfaces and visualizations, we make it really easy for you to integrate all this stuff into your own platforms, because we think there's a lot of value there to customers in not having to spin up multiple UIs or look in multiple places to do things. We'd like you to be able to build your management platform across the board and contribute to that data.
Yeah. You guys had a dev conference coming up that unfortunately, because of all of this, had to get pushed. Was this the first one on the East Coast?
It was, and it's postponed for now. We hope to determine the path forward for that, whether it turns into something virtual, or whether we do move forward with an in-person conference. As you all know, it's kind of a very fluid situation right now. I see announcements with companies putting out travel bans and all kinds of things every day. Just this week, we've had, some things that we were planning on attending either being canceled, as you mentioned. One of the ones, Google Next, right? The big partner cloud conference that Google has, they turned that into a digital first conference as well as I/O. So, lots of things happening and lots of companies just deciding, hey, we're not going to travel right now, and we're going to encourage employees to work from home.
Yes. And do you think that there will be an uptick in live streams with the virus? Do you think more companies are going to choose to go digital rather than just canceling altogether?
It's interesting. I hope so. I think, obviously for a conference where you have keynote sessions and even breakout sessions, it lends itself fairly well to live streaming. As one of you mentioned, Apple's live streamed their keynotes at their conferences for years. That model works well. I think it gets a little harder for a trade show to become virtual, and you can't really offer a live stream from each booth. I can certainly look into the future and wow, it'd be cool if I could just have this VR experience where I walk into a trade show and I feel like I'm walking around the trade show, but I'm sitting at my desk. I think that would be kind of cool, actually. But I think the trade show, you can see press releases and maybe live press conference kind of things happening. But duplicating a trade show virtually seems like quite a challenge. But I do think there'll be definitely more work from home, definitely more virtual meetings, virtual conferences, virtual interactions. I mean, obviously, people still fly to do partner meetings and things like that. I think those will start to be curtailed, and even things like in-person responses to RFPs and things like that. I think people are going to take a harder look in that and say, is that really necessary? Is this something I can do via live streaming and a more interactive presence like that versus actually having to go somewhere? It'll be really interesting to me to see as these things get canceled, how they return in years to come. I think people are going to start looking at it. They can justify the expense of these versus, hey, that wasn't a bad experience virtually. Do we need to continue to actually do these things in person?
And I would say that it's hard to view a trade show through VR how we do trade shows now, but I think the trade shows will start to change and will lend themselves more to that type of experience anyways. So the art of the current trade show might just be dying.
Yeah, let's reimagine that. That's okay, right? I mean, if people spend a ton of time and money, going to trade shows, preparing for trade shows, being at trade shows. Maybe we can reimagine that. Maybe something more efficient is on the horizon. Who knows?
I like that idea.
Agreed. And then the last thing I wanted to chat about was Wowza has an article about the top 10 streaming trends of 2020. Obviously, it's just now March, but the last streaming trend that Wowza has is that it's the death of Flash and RTMP. Obviously, social networks are still using that on one end. Do you think that will also be changing over, or do you think that it's just on one side of things that it will die?
So I can speak mostly from how I see our customers using Flash in their workflows. And I see two things. Obviously, RTMP as an ingest format coming into platforms is big. It's built into many encoders. It's built into it. So I think that will never truly go away. Although I will say we're seeing more and more people using things like WebRTC as an ingest medium into our platforms. On the output side, I think it's going to go way faster. They're depending on where you are geographically and what the penetrations of various browsers and things like that are across the board, it will go way faster as the support just dries up. People have, it's still, everybody consumes video via either mobile apps or browsers. And, in many cases, that support is just going away. So I think I do see it minimizing on the output side, less so on the input side.
What do you think is going to replace it?
I think the various HTTP-based low latency formats make a lot of sense as they begin to approach what the latency of RTMP was. They tend to support most of the things that RTMP had. You can embed data and get data in either the chunks or the manifests and things like that. So they are a viable replacement. You still see, ourselves included, came out with a proprietary low latency solution, but at the same time, it does require a custom player, and I think in general people want to get away from that necessity. So it'll be interesting to see where things like Google Quick pan out in the marketplace and the alternate ways to get data down to a browser than just HTTP or a WebSocket or using WebRTC and perhaps cheating with a data channel or something like that. So I think as the technology evolves, new things may pop up that allow you to do something clever that we're not currently doing. All that said, it's still more efficient to scale HTTP-based formats than anything else. Something you can cache as chunks of data at the edge. Obviously, you can scale far more cheaply. WebRTC, even RTMP, all those other, they're not as efficient to scale right now.
Interesting.
And then are you calling in from Colorado right now?
I am.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful sunny day.
Yeah, I think your office is a beautiful representation right down the middle. You've got the mountains on one side through the window, and then you've got all of your drawings on the other side. It's a work balance there.
I got the whiteboard over here. Got the mountains. You can, if we were lucky, we'd see elk prancing around out there, but that's usually a morning or evening thing.
Oh, man. Well, next time we'll call in around 5 a.m. your time. How does that sound?
There you go. Let's do that.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Barry, for coming on the show. This was fantastic. We love working with Wowza, and we're really excited to have you on.
Thank you, guys. It's always fun to talk about this stuff. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Hopefully we'll see you in April.
Yeah, right?
All right. Bye.
See ya.
See you later.
Bye.
All righty. That was, again, Barry Owen from Wowza. He's the VP of Solutions Engineering. He's always at NAB with us. Very smart. If you missed any of that, please rewind, catch up on everything that we just talked about. If you have any questions on what Barry just asked about and anything that we've talked about so far with any of the headlines, any coronavirus cancellations, anything like that, please feel free to write it in the comments. We will be getting to our chat section later, and we would love to chat with you. And now we get to do one of our favorite segments. We're going to have somebody in the studio talking about something exciting. This is the studio demo. Cool. Figured I'd give him a second because it was not the race it usually is.
Yeah, taking a sweet time.
Yeah, he was.
I'm just trying to get
waltzing on over
trying to get
there.
myself settled here.
Got all the time in the
Hey,
world.
everybody.
All the time.
Just trying to, I'm feeling pretty today. So, hey, everybody, how's it going? So today, we're going to be talking a little bit about what we do with Dante in our studio for our audio solution. If you don't know what Dante is, it's a product by Audinate that handles audio over IP. We do a lot of the sort of bringing in of audio in and out of our system in our MCR and in the field. Using Dante, we rely on it very heavily. Right now, you're hearing me through Dante. We have a Dropbox, a DT168, which is a Allen & Heath product. It's 16 in, 8 out. So I have this broadcast headset plugged in. I have a mic plugged into one of the preamps on that box. That's being controlled by the SQ over Dante. And then I have a return so I can listen back to myself and everybody else in the studio through another port using this JK Remote amp. So with that being said, we have the 168 that's down there. And the heart of everything is this sort of this network switch. And this is a peripheral piece of gear. So I have one line tied into my network switch, and what's great about that is I can have sort of a star configuration, or I have one network line run from my main primary switch over to here in the studio, and then I can add all these different products along with that, including but not limited to this Dante Avio 2-channel USB in and out, which is a product that Audinate makes. They also have like a not only a USB to interface your computer over Dante, they also have like XLR breakouts, things of that nature, 1/4 inch. There's tons of different flavors that they make themselves, along with Dante Virtual Sound Card, which is what we use in the studio to play back music using a software called Trigger. Along with that, I have another Ethernet line here that's using that I'm using to connect to the primary network to do some Dante controller sort of reconfiguration. I don't know if you can see this here, but there we also have there you go. You can sort of see everything that's going on in here. So I have all my transmission from all the different things. Yes, we do have an Xbox that's tied to our Dante network. So if you've ever seen our Madden previews, that's how we get that. We ingest that audio along with a series of different sort of different devices that we have on our network. You can monitor primary and secondary sort of feeds. Everything right now is running off a primary feed, but then we could set up a redundancy. So if there's a failover with one of the switches, it'll automatically switch everything over, and your show will be seamless. And how you're hearing everybody in the studio actually is through ClearCom. So we have this great ClearCom eDante card that's in our matrix frame. It's a fantastic way to interface audio in and out, so we can make mix minuses for everybody and have sort of interfacing with IFBs over Dante, a whole host of different other things. Sort of moving down the line as well, you can add, say you're not nearby this big old DT168, which is sort of this drop-down like trunk type thing. If you just need to drop, if you have connection to your Dante network, say a port on a patch panel or something like that, and you can drop one of these down, and you can have a mic pre 2 channels actually, fully controllable locally or even over the Dante network with phantom power and all your gain settings and whatnot. And would you look at that? I think I'm running out of time because we actually have a little flasher light indication, which is a little complicated how we get it done, but it's a cool little box, and everything is very, very elegant. You know, I can run a whole show without needing to run a whole lot of XLR and have a whole bunch of lines. I can get like hundreds of channels of audio all running through a network switch in redundancy. So I'll be totally set to go. That's pretty much the general overlook of what Dante is for our studio. Do you guys in the studio have any questions for me about this?
Yeah.
I think. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Josh.
Oh yeah. So if I wanted to learn more about Dante stuff, are there any like classes or anything I'd be able to take to learn like all the intricacies of it?
Absolutely. I learned Dante through Audinate's website. They offer a level 1 course, which is really kind of starts with the fundamentals of what audio sort of does in the digital realm and how Dante sort of goes into that. That's a free course. It takes about an hour, and you get a quiz, and then you get a little PDF that says you've been certified. And then they also offer a level 2 course on their website and level 3, which goes into more details with regards to like networking and how all that kind of stuff works. Very, very handy tools to use. And you have this very elegant solution for audio over IP. Very easy to sort of get your hands wet with. And they have a whole lot of resources on the website as to how to use it to its greatest potential.
Yeah, I was going to say, I know it's intimidating, but as somebody so I used to run monitors for a band, and we would load into the same venue over and over and over again. And like audio over IP will change your life when you're loading into a humongous venue. The amount of the reduction in cable that you need, the amount of work that you need to do, the amount of like moving around and patching things. It's a game changer.
Yeah, that's for sure. I think you have to have a little bit more of a mindset about like that next level of like troubleshooting that you have to go through. It's not like, is this cable bad or not? It's like, is my patch correct? So it's a little bit of a different paradigm with regards to like how you fax the issues that you might run into, on a normal show.
Yeah, totally.
But it definitely does make for a more efficient look and sort of layout of your workflow for audio in big and small sort of situations.
Great. Thank you so much,
Cool.
Al, for that.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
No problem.
Dante,
All right.
cool. You want to
Yeah, I'll head
come
back
on
in.
back in? Yeah.
I'm very comfortable over here.
Don't get too comfy. Alrighty. Well, our final segment for the day is one of our favorites. Let's do Fail No More. The Fail No More this week is always check your accessories when you're renting something. Make sure that you've gotten everything that you need to make the rental product work with the product that you're bringing. Thank you so much again for watching Ready Take Live. Another episode, guys. 5 episodes this season already.
And we
crazy.
made it to
Awesome.
LinkedIn.
Yeah, LinkedIn. So if you're watching throughout the week, if you're watching this on YouTube, VOD, please feel free to comment. We'll love to respond to your comments, love to answer any questions. We'd love to get any topics that you want to talk about in future episodes. Anyone you think we should be talking to on Pro Talk, feel free to drop it in there. And as always, best of luck on your next live production.